From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Captain's Log Supplemental.
Once you start racing, you'll start to know that the more information your driver can have, the better. One of the things that we found is that the Sentinel system allows you to be able to not only get your driver the information that they need, but also be able to share the information with the pit and anybody who's got internet availability. You can integrate your AIM data. You can integrate the driver tag, as in who is the driver in the car. You can also integrate in your standings and who is ahead or behind of you into the dash, as well as be able to see flag statuses in case there's a yellow flag or a red flag or a black flag. Hopefully none of those, but they do happen. This was developed by a fellow racer, former guest, James Candelaria, and he is seeing a lot of people using it in the SCCA, WRL, AER, and we are doing demos at our paddocks whenever we are at the track. It could be at a race or it could be at an HBD. If you're interested and want to come in and see how it is, we can give you a demo. And if you find that it's something that would be helpful to your racing, please use our discount code, which will save you 10% on anything that you buy. And it is creatively GHIT, GHIT, for Garage Heroes in Training. So hopefully you will find that the Sentinel system is as useful for your racing as we have found it for ours.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed. You're ready to move up.
Dominating with Dawson.
Ben Dawson. I need some Ben Dawson.
Well, need and you shall receive. What is up?
And I've got Miss Vicky here. She's here.
Vicky.
Yes, I am. I'm here. Hello.
We have a totally non-technical Dominating with Dawson this week.
Oh, thank God. I'm stupid.
We're not doing jargon. We're not doing high physics. We're not doing any math. Okay.
Oh, can we do feelings? We had a guy start at work today who was completely just heartbroken, like a 50-year-old guy whose marriage just fell apart. He's back up here from Florida. Not sure how long he's going to have his cell phone. It took him all of 5 minutes talking to him to go, I got to tell you, I'm just going through one of the darkest times of my life. And I was like, man, happy Monday morning to me. But we all like this guy. We hope that we can help him with his feelings, because we hope that, working with us and making some boxes will lift his spirits a little bit. So we're going to talk about feelings, right?
Well, I am not quite prepared to get my questioning in for Dominating with Dawson related to the feelings of a marriage falling apart, because I stopped buying cars and Vicky's not mad at me right now. So I'm going to keep it that way. Not in the tub.
Was all feelings. He was all feelings and nerves. It was so weird.
All right. Well, this robot person you have here is not fluent in this. That would be Vicky's domain. But I do have something. So everybody always worries about fixing their car, getting a turbo, what tires, tire pressure, blah, 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 blah.
Well, you're not going to be anybody on track if you don't have all that stuff perfect before you go out, right?
Never perfect, never done. Understand the concept. But I have a concept that I think people need to get used to.
Yeah, what you got?
My concept is you got what you got when you're on the track. You ain't going to make any changes. You just got to make the best of it. The track is in this condition. The weather's in this condition. Your tires are in this condition. When you're out on track, we aren't fortunate enough to have cars where we can change things on the fly, where we can alter our tire pressure or change our camber.
We
And
don't
you
have
just
adjustable sway bars like the big boys, right?
not live in car while we're driving, right?
Yeah, that's right. Some series have that, like that you watch on TV. We don't have that. We just got what we got.
We got what we got. And sometimes you got to learn to drive what you got, because it's what you got. Ben,
You better figure it out. Yeah.
how do you do that? How do you deal with that? Is it true? Is it that I don't need my turbo, and I don't need my supercharged, turbocharged, multiple charged, felony charge?
I'll tell you. For me, this goes all the way back to when I had like a 5 horsepower Briggs and Stratton yard cart. We used to go run around, and my dad would load me and my brother's carts up in the back of his truck and take us out to, like, some place that was a lot that was about to be built but wasn't built yet. You know what I mean? Like a nice kind of relatively open field without a lot of trees and stuff like that. And we went out there one time, and I hit the right front wheel on this cart. All the wheels stick off on like little metal tubes or whatever. So that's kind of the cart structure. And I knocked one of the front wheels just completely up. And my dad was like, "Oh, I guess you're done for the day." And I was like, "No, just whack that wheel up even further so it's out of the way." And so we bent the wheel way up out of the way, and I leaned in that cart, and I just kept on driving. I figured out, how am I going to drive this thing almost as fast as I was driving with 4 wheels with 3 wheels. And I just started leaning my body and figuring out how to do it. And I was like, I'm going to make this work. And I did. I was still faster than my idiot brother. Caleb, if you're listening, I love you, buddy. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, I've always been ready to just drive what I got. I come from down in the South where, when we used to go to the dirt track races every Saturday night, there was a class called, it was like an enduro class called, just run what you brought. And that's what most of us have in a track day. You need to run what you brought if you're able to interpret my Southern redneck talk. But yeah, I mean, once you're out there, you got what you got. I've seen people have a blast at a track day with a rental car. You show up with a rental car, I think it's absolutely unmodified, or it better be.
Yeah.
But what you have to drive, especially if we're talking to DE and stuff like that, where there might be a hesitation to go out there if everything's not perfect, or I haven't installed the turbo that's an option for this car, I should do that first. None of that crap matters. The stuff that makes you a fast driver is getting out there on the track and putting your butt on the track and getting seat time. I did most of my tracking and racing to get started, at least probably for the first 10 years, in a Miata. That would be shocked if I was putting 100 horsepower to the ground. I never took it to dyno, but I mean, it did great in races. We won the first WRL race overall in the Southeast with it. I mean, so it was an okay car, but it didn't have any power. But I learned how to go really fast in it. So I mean, I'm a huge proponent of just running what you got and figuring out how to dominate with the least amount of stuff.
Mm-hmm. So Miss Vicky, we've spent a lot of time learning how to do a lot of stuff in the garage and the hangar and fixing cars and dialing in cars but when we get to the track, it kind of is what it is. And you've adjusted to several cars. In the beginning, I don't even think you realized you were doing it, but is that something that you're familiar with? And have you noticed that, driving a different car, driving a different setup, driving different tires, driving in different weather, and you just adjust? And how have you been doing with that?
Yeah, pretty much I have. It's just, it is what it is. So you just, for right now, I am, you just feel the car out and figure out, you test a little bit here, you test a little bit there on that turn, and then figure out what it does. And, I'm not, for me, going in and just hitting it and then going, 10 for 10, which means all out for those in that lingo. I don't... I know we throw a little bit of jargon around here, but, I never really go out and do that until I'm comfortable fully in the car. So, yeah, for adjusting and everything. And, of course, when it comes to sitting and learning about the cars and repairing the cars, I'm usually right there. I would say 95% of the time I'm right there, learning and adapting to what they're doing to the cars, so I can go ahead and do that on my own.
So if the car is not perfect, you're not just going to put it on a trailer and drive home because, for the weather?
What do you mean?
Like when you get to the track and the car is just, not feeling, it's still safe, but it's not, something's wrong, or the weather's not great, or whatever.
No, well, it depends on what is actually going on with the car. Certainly don't want to go out with an unsafe car, but you know, if we're feeling something, we certainly want to check it. And of course, we have enough support around us to double check those areas and making sure that at least for me, that my suspicions are confirmed. And then if I need assistance to go ahead and do something with it, then I do have the support, take that information back. But I don't necessarily trailer a car. Unless it's severely has issues. I don't want to put a safe.
If it's not safe, right?
If it's not safe, we're not going to put it on. But if it's not 100%, as long as it's drivable, we'll put it on. I mean, instances where if you get into a fender bender and it's just a matter of bringing that car in, oh, it's still drivable, you haven't lost any fluids, you might have some surface damage to the car, some superficial stuff, we'll just tape it up, put it back out. It's not perfect, but it's running, and we'll just address that when we get back to the garage. Just go ahead and finish the race.
If you remember, we had a car, we'll call it El Jefe, the trophy truck, and it was having trouble with the power steering and a little bit of trouble with the brakes. And we still won the race in spite of the car not being perfect.
Yeah. Honestly, sometimes you just have to adjust and adapt. And there are some instances where you can get around the track with a broken car. I think the more skilled you are with that, the better. But just because you might have, lost a situation with your car, and it is still drivable and you have a couple laps to go, I certainly wouldn't bring it in. In some of those instances, I've seen people drive without brakes. It's skill. You have to take skill with it. I wouldn't do an entire race with no brakes, but if you're only doing the last couple laps and just need to do your slowing with rev match and lifting, then that certainly is a technique.
Keep it safe, but get it home.
Keep it safe. Not recommended for everybody.
Nope.
But there's certain things do go wrong. I mean, if you got bits falling off your car, certainly come in.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey Ben, what's a good way to get better at handling a car that's not perfect?
Oh, I would just drive it and do as many DE days as I could and something like that.
Just the more you do it.
About?
Yeah, the more you do it. If you only drive a perfectly prepared car, which is the goal for everybody, right? I mean, we'd love to do that. But if you only drive that car, you're missing some of the stuff that you can do. And I'm not saying, look at this as an opportunity, but you kind of do. It's if the car isn't right, sometimes you learn more. It's like, oh, I could have done that,
For me, I went for several track days where I couldn't figure out a high RPM stumble that I had in my Miata. You start out the day that wouldn't happen, and then 2/3 of the way of the day it would happen with only this one gear. Then it would spread. And it took me forever to figure out what it was. It was like a loose cam sensor connection or something. But I changed so much stuff on that car as I was chasing it. So I'd be at a track day like, okay, well, I got a new coil on this time, so it's not going to do it. I think I finally found the problem, and I had so many disappointing track events where this thing would kind of devolve into just kind of a stumbly mess up in the top end. And I had to learn how to just drive around. I was like, I'm here. I'm instructed at this track day. I'm going to, as long as the car is still running, I'll get out on track and just do the best I can with it. But it's another instance where I had to kind of shift around and change where my shift points were just based on where this thing would start stumbling and breaking up, as far as the power delivery. So, I mean, there's always some crap to adapt to with your car at the race, at a DE, no matter how kind of together you are. You just got to figure out how to drive around. I mean, to me, the fun of driving a car that's not perfectly balanced and perfectly set up, and a GT3 car from the factory or whatever is I like to try to understand whatever the car's handling foibles are. What is this thing doing that I don't like? Just try to figure out how to try to defeat it. Every little foible is like a boss in a video game that you have to try to defeat and then exploit if I can. If it's doing something that seems kind of adverse, is there a way I can turn this into a positive in traffic? Whatever it is. I mean, if this car does something weird, but also might be something I can use them to my advantage. So don't just, to me, I try not to just focus on how's this thing messing me up? But it can handle this one part of the track better than some other cars can. So how can I exploit this and try to make the best out of the car that's not ideal? Because for the most part, we're out there driving and racing cars that are not ideal by any professional standard. And it's certainly not to us either. No. So
exactly.
The strength is in figuring out how to make it work better. Figuring out what it's not doing well, figuring out how to make it do those things better, and figuring out if there's anything I can exploit. But I'm just always trying to maximize my speed in whatever I'm driving. So I'm going to try to, I'm always trying to push the limits to see what I can get away with, without having things get off track. And another thing about more and more seat time is you can push the boundaries and explore more if you have better car control, which you get through seat time.
Mm-hmm.
If you have pretty fine control of that car and have so much seat time that you're pretty much wearing that car like a piece of clothing, then as it's messing up, you're going to feel it, you're going to catch it. So the more in control you are, just comes through seat time. But if you have excellent car control, you can play around it and figure out what's working and what's not. And that just all comes from seat time.
Yep. And if you wait for your car to be perfect and everything 100% right and all the weather and everything, you're never going to get out on track and you're never going to get good.
No, just come out and run what you brung. What you brung, get it on out here.
And sometimes you learn stuff. The example, Vicky's sick of hearing me talk about it, but we were having trouble with El Jefe, the trophy truck, the brakes. I remember I'm going around turn 1. It's a big left-hand turn at pit race. My brake went right to the floor. I had no brakes. I came in, the brakes were on fire, no big deal. But I'm going around turn 1 with no brakes into what I had previously thought was a high speed heavy braking zone. I have no braking. I go all the way around the track. No problem. Didn't leave the track at all. So not only am I now thinking, hey, we got something wrong with the brakes, I'm also thinking, hey, I've been overslowing for this turn the entire time.
Yeah, there you go.
That's sometimes you learn
the advantage. That's a terrifying way to find a new advantage, but you take every data point and put it in, right?
Exactly. Not the preferred path to learn how to go around the turn, but it taught me a little bit.
Well, yeah. It's funny. I hate to admit this to so many discerning listeners and smart people, but I had a Focus ST and I had bought the Ford maintenance package. So I would go take it to the track every once in a while if I was instructing and we didn't have a race car to take or test or did that, for whatever reason, if I was at the track without a race car, I would just run this Focus ST for a few laps a session, take people out and that kind of thing. But I never had the good brake fluid in there, and I never put the good pads on. I was just running the Ford stock stuff. So eventually, I was headed toward a brake meltdown every single time. It happened to me at the fastest part of Sonoma when I bought the car. I was living in California. It happened to me at the fastest part of Sears Point with a passenger in the car. It happened to me going down the back stretch of VIR going 140 maybe. I was going, at least the speedometer, so I was going pretty fast, and I went for the brakes and had nothing. Mm-hmm. There's another place with a very long straightaway, and then I breaking into a hairpin, and I had a brake failure there. And I was in the car. This is a Ford Focus. I had 2 passengers, and they were both this guy's teenage daughters. The guy was like, "Oh, hey, you're an instructor. Can you take my daughters out on course?" I'm like, "Yeah, throw them in the car or whatever." And I go down to this turn, going super fast. And I got no brakes. None of those instances did I go off. I figured it out. I didn't make a pretty corner, but I never went off track any of those times. I just pumped the brakes and figured it out. But, you have to just make decisions on the fly every once in a while when things are not ideal. And certainly those times you're talking about, Bill, and I'm talking about where you lose all your brakes but still manage to keep everything relatively on course. Those are great learning experiences too.
Mm-hmm. So get out on the track. Go have fun.
Sorry to that guy who's done 2 daughters I took out. I never admitted what was going on. Whoa, is everything okay? I was like, yeah, we're fine. We just didn't have brakes for a second.
Worse. Brakes just slow you down, man.
Yeah. Sorry, ladies.
So, what are we going to do next time the car's not 100% perfect?
Drive it. Take it out on track. Never miss a session unless you're too tired to do it. If your car will get out there, even in slightly compromised condition, and it's safe to take it out and go do it.
Vicky just drove her car for the first time on track in the snow.
Man, I can't wait to race that thing. She's so excited about it too. She's not talking because she forgot. She's on mute. She's not asleep. She's on mute. Don't worry about it, guys.
Nope, she's not. She's not asleep at all. Nope,
I'm really tired. Really tired.
It's been a long Monday for everybody. But yeah, take whatever you got and get out to the track. If you're not sure if what you got is up to snuff, right into Garage Heroes and tell us about it. We'll tell you that it damn sure is good enough. As long as it's safe, it has all its lug nuts on there and they all get tight and, you know, has motor oil in the engine and some brake pad, you're probably fine.
Yep. It's not that far. You can actually take just a straight street car. We'd prefer it
Absolutely.
if you change the brake pads maybe, or the brake fluid, or, you know, just make sure it's mechanically sound. But you could just take your street car out and go have fun because, you know, you're not going to be that fast the first time out. You, by your own self-preservation, you won't be that fast. So
I was tracking the hell out of my daily, my Focus ST. I was like, I'm gonna take it out there because I don't have a race car that's ready to go. So take whatever you got out there.
So if you got what you got when you're out there, what do you got?
You have a delightful time on the track, whether the Formula One scouts are looking at you or not.
Exactly. Go have fun, people. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ben.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Yeah, I think she's already gone.
I'm done.
I'm already gone.
Post race hangover is that picture.
I know. I'm so tired.